Welcome to Beyond the Guidelines, the podcast that takes you past the listings, the programs, and all the polished sales talk to reveal the real people shaping today's real estate world. Here we uncover the personal stories, struggles, and wins that define each guest, giving you a fresh human perspective on the business. I'm Ryan Speltz, and I am on a mission to help you see the person behind the professional, because real estate isn't just about the deals, it's about the connection. Today's guest is one that I am very excited to introduce to you. My former coach at Glover U. And I'm excited to introduce him to you, not just for what he's accomplished in the market, which is impressive in itself, but for the drive, the values, and the vision behind his success. So before the show, I asked William what his purpose was, and William stated that his purpose was simply to help them win. So let's go a little deeper on that, William. Appreciate you being here. How'd you get to such a direct, awesome purpose?
Well, it's when you've been everywhere between rock bottom and supposedly at the highest point, right? You know, there's a lot of stuff that happens. And when there's people who are willing to, I get emotional, poofed up. When there's people who are willing to help you, it's an honor. It's almost, it's an honor to be able to help other people get to where they want to be. So if we can help people win, when you're helping people win, there's no losing. I mean, does that make sense? It's flat out, you know, the one guy said it, if you want to get to where you want to go, just help more people get to where they want to be, right? And that doesn't make sense until you start doing it. And when you can put yourself in a position to help others, it's one of the most magical feelings I think I could ever experience in my life. Besides, you know, meeting my wife and falling in love with her, you know, it's right there. So helping people win, and it doesn't necessarily just mean in real estate, right? You said it yourself. There's a lot of stories that are happening behind real estate. And I've stepped away from coaching in the real estate world and coaching in general at any aspect that, you know, the people pay me. But I have people reach out to me all the time for advice. And I have a friend, she recently just had her son reach out to me. He's a 23-year-old young man, and he's just kind of lost in life. And she's like, can you talk to him? And I'm like, absolutely. I said, set some ground rules with you that no matter what he says to me, it's none of your business. I'm never going to share what he tells me with you. Unless, of course, I feel that there's a issue where he could hurt himself or something, right? And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you can't expect me to talk to him and then just come right back and, you know, literally tell mommy, you know, because if I want to help him win, I have to be able to have that person's trust. So the long rambling continuation of your question is how did I come to that? I grew up extremely poor. I think a lot of people who are successful in this world have gone through a lot of their own trials and tribulations and just hardships. And when I say poor, there was it's a span of about 2 years where we lived in a horse trailer. We lived in church parking lots, off vouchers to live in these motels. And that was from about 9 to 11 when that was there. And we lived off the generosity of others. And I always get emotional telling this story because, I mean, how can you not, right? And when growing up, there was other things going there. And you know, when I met my wife, there was another personal choice that I had to make, and that's removing some people from my life that, you know, most people would have a hard time doing. But when I decided that this is going to be my life and going to move forward, the best way to help myself win was by removing, I don't want to say cancer, but that's the word I think most people will understand if I just use that word. Remove that from my life and continue to focus on this. And then once we got to the place where we are now in real estate, where once again, a few years ago, we also hit rock bottom. Like we were 3 days away from our house being sold at sheriff's sale. And if you don't know what that means you're literally in foreclosure. Your house is about to no longer be yours. There's some technicalities, but keep going from there. And from that point, we've been able to turn it around in a very successful way. And now I just feel it's an obligation and a privilege to be able to help other people win.
Yeah, I love that you are able to recognize like where you came from and how you kind of came up from that. Do you think it's important for people that have experienced loss to understand that they can win? And do you think it's important for people to experience some kind of in whether it's business or life or anything like that to be able to be successful?
I don't think it's necessary. I do believe it's hard for some people to lose something and to ask themselves, how did this better me? How am I going to learn from this? How can I grow from this? It sounds like a bunch of crap when you're in the moment. What is this teaching me? This is teaching me nothing. This is teaching me life sucks. This is teaching me that I shouldn't even try, because the only reason I failed is because I tried and I'm done, right? And you can't fault people for having that mindset or that experience, because if they don't surround themselves with other people who are like, okay, here's an example. My Aunt Robin, a very successful realtor, top 50 team in the world for Remax, like fantastic. And one time she said, hey, Willie, because my family calls me Willie, if it can be solved by money, it's not a real problem. And I was just cursing in my head. And I'm like, what does that even mean? Of course it's a real problem. Well, then a grandpa dies. No amount of money in the world can bring grandpa back, right? And I was like, I'm trying not to curse, crap. Like, she's right. But if I didn't have that person in my life, I would not have had that train of thought. So I've gone through, and most people have gone through a lot of stuff, right, in their life. I've been lucky, blessed, grateful, whatever, the universe, a higher being. I've been put in the presence of people who will, I hate the word challenge, but you know what I'm trying to say, challenge or give me a different perspective. And I don't know if I would have the same outcome that I would have right now if I didn't have those people in my life. And if I could tell you how that happened, I would. I don't think there's a formula for it. Now there is a formula for it, that I have the vision and I can see that, you're the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with and all that stuff. So I think it does give you a different drive, that I'm never going back there. I'm never going back to what has happened to me. But I don't think it has to happen to you, as long as you're empathetic and you can listen to other people's stories and draw from that story and correlate it to your own life in some way.
Yeah, I love that saying of if money can solve it, if it's not a real problem. I know that when you're having money problems, it feels like that's like the last thing you want to hear, right?
Yep.
For most people.
So true. So true.
But it is, ultimately it is pretty true, because really the money problem isn't the problem, right? It's like that you're not able to go out and make money, right? Because there's a ton of people out there that are making money right now, and there's a ton of agents that are out there making a ton of money in a market that's down, and people, they respond in kind and go, the market's terrible. When the market comes back, I'll make more money. Well, that's outside of yourself, and we don't know when it's coming back, right? It's just, you got to get out there and do it. And so really, is the money the problem, or is that the symptom of the real
Absolutely.
problem? What's one mindset or habit that you've developed that you credit for your success?
Love this question. And people ask me this question a lot, and it's just follow me on this. Does it bring me joy? Does it bring me value? Does it bring me closer to my goal? We've talked about this. Over the last several years, I put anything that's brought to my attention through this filter. Does it bring me joy, and does it bring me value? If the answer is yes to both those, I can continue on to the next thing. Does it bring me closer to my goal? If the answer is yes, that activity goes on my schedule. If at any point in time it conflicts with any 3 of those issues, I have to ask myself, does it bring me joy? Well, prospecting doesn't always bring me joy. So, oh well, suck it up, buttercup. Does it bring me value? Absolutely. Prospecting is a leading indicator on what my income is going to look like in 60, 90, 120 days. And does it bring me closer to my goal? Well, absolutely it does. So guess what? That goes on my schedule. Now, think of this. Think of a kid's first birthday party. I always joke, they're not going to remember if you're there or not. But you know what? The parents will and your friends will. So does it bring me joy to go to my friend's kid's first birthday party? Honestly, not really. It's not my jam. But does it bring me value? Absolutely. Because I get to see my friends and I get to see their happiness and I get to see the kids, and there's value in that joy. And then does it bring me closer to my goal? Well, you can't always think in the sense of your business goal. If you're in a tight spot for money, well, that's the only thing that matters, right? Then absolutely, you're 100% in that process. But if it's bringing me closer to my goal to have deeper relationships, then yes, that goes on my schedule. So coming up with those filters, does it bring me joy? Does it bring me value? Does it bring me closer to my goal? And then if it doesn't conflict with any of those 3, as long as it doesn't conflict with my personal core values, then it's absolutely good to go. So because a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot of people, when I was a coach with Glover U, absolutely loved it. I carried a pretty large roster. And one of the major hurdles people would have was be saying yes to so much. People would have FOMO, fear of missing out. Well, I have JOMO, I have joy of missing out. So if and no is my favorite word. It really upsets people at times because you can't walk back a yes. If you commit to something, it's really hard to say, just kidding, I can't do that. But if you say, you know what, as of right now, I can't commit to that, but I will keep it there. And if I can, I will do it. So right now it's a no, not even a maybe, it's a no. So, being able to really stick to that, of the filters, you can't walk back a yes, and no is a complete sentence, and my favorite word.
That's a fantastic way to look at life. I mean, there's so many people out there that just do things because they feel like they have to, or it's the next step, or it's the next thing. And that's, if there's one thing that I learned from you for sure, or cemented that idea is directionalize your life and live with the intention of where you're going. Because if you're not doing that, someone else is doing it for you.
Yep.
And you end up in a place that you don't know of, you don't want to be there, and it's too late, right? Like you said, you can't walk back to yes. You already committed to it and you're already there.
Yeah.
And that can be definitely difficult for the long-term life of just, of growth and everything like that. So I love that.
Absolutely.
If you could give your younger self one piece of advice when you're starting out, and this doesn't have to be starting out in real estate, just starting out in general, what would it be?
All right. I've always been very confident, maybe a little borderline cocky. And I have not been as open to feedback still to this day as I should be. My wife, Sarah, if you guys know me, you probably know Sarah. Sarah Huffman is one of the nicest people on the freaking planet. And feedback is a gift. It really is. It may not seem like it in the moment, and it may honestly never seem like it, because if you're like me, you have double standards. I'll give feedback, but I hate feedback. But a younger me, even today me, is still something that I do work on consistently, is because I've always been a hard worker. If I was going to flip burgers, I was the best damn burger flipper. If I was going to sell shoes, I was the best damn shoe salesman. If I was going to be a server, man, I'm getting the biggest tips and I'm going to have the greatest time, right? But if somebody tried to give me advice or give me feedback, I would be like, you don't know me. Well, maybe they don't know me, but maybe they know the industry just slightly better than I do. And I could have benefited from that and didn't have to forge my own path. Another thing I would say is I would go back to myself and be like, quit being an idiot. Somebody's done it before you. Somebody's done it better than you. Somebody's always going to be doing it better than you. So just find what they've done and just do that. Go down their path. Yeah, sure, you can add a little zhuzh to it and stuff, but take that feedback as a gift, and you don't have to recreate the wheel and forge your own path. Somebody's already done it, so find it and just go down it with them.
Yeah, especially in real estate, I feel like a lot of people, they don't know what direction they're going ever, right? Like they don't find that person to follow. And I think that's super important for everybody of any profession, really, or anything in life, is just being able to find that mentor. And if that person doesn't exist in your life, I know Gary Vee says it all the time. He's like, just start listening to somebody from the past, right? Like he could be dead and still be your mentor, right? Like
absolutely.
There's so much knowledge that's already been recorded. Why are we not listening to that more?
I love that. Some of my greatest mentors never even know I existed, and they never will. They will never know that my life has been impacted by theirs. And that's a really cool thing. I mean, that's having an unreal impact right there. An impact so amazing, it's almost unbelievable. Like it's just to have that sort of legacy to where somebody could be dead and gone. And like John David Mann and Bob Berg wrote The Go-Giver. They don't know I exist. Actually, Bob Berg once commented on one of my posts, and I fanboyed out. It was super cool. But like, they don't know I exist, and they don't know that book shaped my life. Like, I had always lived my life that way, and then they managed to put it into words. So there's a lot of people out there who have been a mentor to me and still are, that will never know I exist.
I want to encourage you to reach out to Bob, because I actually had him on my podcast.
Did you really?
Yeah. So last year, I think it was last March, he jumped on the podcast with us, and super down to earth. Like, and all I really did was email him and ask him if he would be on the podcast, and he agreed to it. So
of course
I would encourage you. I can even make a connection for you if you want. Like,
I'm not going to say no, bro. That would be cool. I would just love to tell him.
Like, hey, you got to meet William. He's a good dude. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, like, you know, the lesson I learned from all of that was like, you know, you mentioned that he's your mentor and he doesn't know you exist, but made the comment. And if you replied to it, now he knows you exist. And the next time he sees your name, he's going to be like, oh, I remember that guy. Like,
it's pretty cool.
That's really cool that you brought The Go-Giver up. One of my favorite books. Recommend it to everybody for sure.
And ask big, you know, another piece of advice is that I'd give myself. You asked me for one, I've given you like 3 now.
That's the way it goes. It's the best part.
Yeah. Ask big, man. Like, you know, when I first was introduced to Jeff Glover in his world, this is a true story, and he doesn't remember. I've told him this, and I'm like, so I want a ticket. Oh, sorry, I'm a working real estate agent. My phone's dinging. We were at an event that I had won tickets to that I didn't have any money to go to in our worst financial crisis, but I had won this drawing, and I was sneaking in at lunch, and I was grabbing a plate of lunch and bringing it up to my room, and then I'd go back in and eat lunch. I saw him in the bathroom, and this is so creepy. And I'm like, hey, man, you don't know who I am. I won the flight down here. My name's William, but one day you will. And he goes, cool, bro. Like, he's like, who's this dude talking to me while I'm going to the bathroom? And that was just from that moment on. I just like, I said, I ask big, and if there's somebody I want in my life, I'm going to actively pursue them. Maybe stalk them, whatever words you want to use are up to you, until I can, you know, become in their universe so I can benefit from their gravity and what they go on in their universe. And that started with Jeff Glover. I wish I would have started that as a much younger age, as an entrepreneur, as a salesman. You know, since 98, I've been in commission sales 100% one way or another. And if I would have just asked bigger, I mean, I'm not complaining where my life is now, but where could I have been, you know? So
I'd like to say that a lot of that is probably experience for you, though, to be able to get to that point of having the confidence that you mentioned, to be able to ask that big. If someone's listening to this and wanting to kind of develop that as a skill set, where do they start? How do they take that opportunity?
Thank you. Great question. I love this. Whatever you're doing, if you don't feel you are the best person to be doing that, then why are you doing it? So, you know, we're active prospectors, and we call cancels and expireds. I truly believe I am one of the best listing agents out there for somebody who canceled or expired, and I am going to be able to get them to the finish line and make sure they're happy at the end of it. I feel I am the best person on the planet to help every single person I talk to. And if I'm not, I let them know that. So if you feel that you are the best person to park cars, you should let somebody know I am the best valet on the planet, and I'm going to take such great care of you. You're going to remember my name as the valet guy, and nobody else remembers the valet guy. I'm the most impressed by Uber drivers and stuff like that who treat it like a true luxury service. I have cards for different Uber drivers in different cities now that I call them directly because they're like, I am the best. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to give you the best service. So I truly feel that no matter what you're doing, if you don't feel you are or you are going to be the best, maybe reevaluate what you're doing and find what you think you can be the best at and pursue that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of it comes down to the expertise aspect of it too, right? Like, especially in the real estate market. Again, I keep going back because that's where we're at. But the people that come out and, you know, the agents that are posting on Facebook, like, oh, I'm the best real estate agent in X city. And they couldn't tell you what down payment assistance programs are available in their marketing to first-time home buyers. Like, are you really the best agent for a first-time home buyer if you don't know what down payment assistance programs are available and how they work and where to send them? You know, it's becoming such an epidemic of like, oh, if you want to buy or sell, call me. It's a great time to buy or sell. I'm just in the contrarian aspect now. I'm just commenting why underneath. And it's like waiting for their response. And it's so funny. Yeah. Like, well, it's probably a buyer's market. Well, why is it a buyer's market? And just like pulling it out of them. And then I go, well, I think you found your next post. Like, have a good one. Like, I'm just like the guy that like tells them how to message. And I think there's such a messaging issue. Would you say that that's probably one of the most misunderstood pieces of real estate is like being able to decipher the difference between an agent that, you know, says they're the best versus the one that actually is the best?
Yeah. So our industry is a wonderful industry. I love it because you can go from rag to riches, and there's a million different ways you can do it. And I think you and I both believe, though, firmly that if you're not in it for the customer service side of things, you might not be doing it the right way. Um, I got to tell you, I don't really love real estate. Like, I'm not like, oh my gosh, this is the best industry in the world. I think it's a great avenue, and it can be so impactful on so many levels. I necessarily don't like people. Like, I'm not really a people person. I really do like to be at home and kicking it. And I like to have people over. When people are over, I'm cooking and they're all having a great time. And I'm like serving, the acts of service. So that's what I like to do. But I love customer service. I love kicking ass and taking names and delivering an exceptional experience. And when somebody is done with working with us and our team, that was just an amazing experience. Doesn't mean it all went great. Doesn't mean it was all like, puppies and kittens. Now back to your question about the messaging is that there's a lot of words out there. There's a lot of posts. There's a lot of information. There's not a lot of knowledge. I know that's cliche to say, but it's very, very true. We live in a world of knowledge, or excuse me, a world of information, but we all don't have the knowledge that we need to make these informed decisions. One of the things I always say is it's my job to give you all the information you need by the time I leave to make an informed decision. And if that's not ever my goal, I don't know if I ever want to be doing that again. I love to educate. I love to help people. I like to guide people through the process. And the messaging, I'm not trying to knock on people because I want everybody to have a good life. I want everybody to make it. I want to help people. We all know who I'm talking about, though, that posts 17,000 times a week, and it's all these different houses, and you pull their numbers, and they've done 3 units in the last 12 months. They're great marketing. Maybe they're not because they only done 3 units, right? When I see that person out there their messaging, it's my job to, I don't know, get in front of the people that might see that and try and show them some truth. Try and show them what actually is going on in the market, in our lives, and in wherever. So I'm really not trying to rip on people here, but yes, there's a lot of messaging out there that it's incredibly hard to cut through the BS to actually get to the meat and potatoes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, right off the top, we all know the statistics from 24 where 50% of agents didn't close one deal, right? Like literally 0 or 1 was 74% was 0 or 1, which is crazy. Obviously, there's some part-time agents in there and stuff like that, but that's still a crazy statistic to think about. Like, ultimately, is this your side gig? Is it your main gig? Are you truly the person to help these people? I love that you strive to be the best person to help, and you are the best person to help. And when you're not saying that, that shows such a definition of well, obviously maturity, but understanding of the industry of where you don't have to take every single deal.
Yeah,
there's more out there.
Not at all.
And what you've done a great job of as well, with the A Good Life group, you've built a team around you. And so if you're not the right person, you've probably got somebody on your team that is the right person. And so now you're not losing, that's the way to do it. It's building that team. It's building the support system around you and the clients that you're bringing in. I love it. You got it all in line there. And I think it's really great to watch. So,
and if you are one of those agents that, are doing 1 to 3 deals a year and you want to provide great service, I highly recommend joining a team. I really do, because if I get somebody that wants to work with us, but they're a very empathetic person, they're very emotional, and they want to talk about their feelings and, the flow of the house and stuff like that, you're working with Cara or my wife on the team. You're like, now if you're an engineer and you're an analytical and you're like, tell me the stats, give me the data, like, give it to me straight, Huffman. Like, I got you. So yeah, like I said, I am not for everyone, but we do have such a great crew around us that we can typically find the right fit within our organization.
I love it. So what's next for William? Like, what professionally or personally, what are you most excited about that's coming next?
Bro, I don't know what I'm doing this afternoon. Like that's not, like, I love it though. I love it because when you're a team lead, you got 14 agents on your team. They're always putting stuff on your calendar. So I love the excitement of that. But I'd say professionally, you know, I do want to get back into coaching in about a year and a half. We stepped back to grow our team, and we're accomplishing that. So I'm excited for that, to continue to grow our team. I want to get my wife out of production, and I want her to more be the amazing leader that she is. You know, for years I thought I was the leader. I'm not. I have some great skills and I have some great abilities, but she is truly the leader that we all need in our organization. And she really wants to go to Paris, so we're going to go to Paris, I guess.
Cool. Yeah, that's a great destination to decide to go to for sure. I love it.
I didn't decide. I was told.
Well, you had a part in the decision because you were in the room. So
yes, that's about it. Yeah, I was in the room. We're going to Paris. Sounds good, babe.
Love it. Well, William, I appreciate your time today. Thanks for hanging with us on this episode of Beyond the Guidelines. And as I always say, if today's conversation hit home, if you're questioning the way your business is set up, the way your agent's performing, the way your lender's performing, anything like that, you're not stuck. You don't need permission to pivot at any point. You don't need someone else's version of success to build your own. We're kind of here connecting with people to show you what it looks like to do it a little bit differently, with real stories, real decisions, and a business that actually fits the life you want. So if this episode got you thinking, do us a favor, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone else who's ready to break their mold. Thanks again, William.
Hell yeah, brother.